Welcome back to the channel. Um, I know I haven't been posting in quite some time. I did take a little bit of a hiatus due to what I suspect to be a number of different hackers hacking into my YouTube channel and changing the viewing preferences. So, yeah, it was a little odd, but still haven't figured it out. Thinking about working on that, as time goes on. But for now, I am just going to go ahead and start by taking an order here. Let me see here. I guess we might as well do this one. Historically, I really hate this vehicle because I currently have a vehicle like that in the garage that I cannot get out of the garage. Probably going to delete that too. All right, let's see here. So we got repair all engine faults. So you have quite a bit of those. Knocking noises from the engine bay. Even more of those. Sloppy car steering. Fix suspension clunks and rattles, which we'll probably do right along with the engine faults. Loud exhaust. And general gearbox control repair. That should be easy enough. Probably flywheel, clutch repair. Something of that sort, usually. But, alright, so let's go ahead and get started here. I'm just going to start out with the sloppy car steering. Seems to be sloppy, so we'll start. Looks like that battery's old at 19%. We'll just go ahead and repair. We'll go ahead and charge that in the meantime. Let me see. So we got the ABS module and the ABS pump are good. Oof. Kind of weird. Usually the car steering start there. At least in this game. Or simulation, as you may say. Which makes you question our reality in itself as being a possible simulation. That brings up simulation theory. Of course, I won't get into that now as it is unrelated to car maintenance. So, you'll see we have this outer tie rod is what they call that. Yes. Outer tie rod. Go ahead and remove this tire here. And I'm going to remove that outer tie rod along with its inner tie rod. What we're trying to do right now is remove this steering rack. Primarily. So that's going to be the biggest problem. And that inner tie rod on the driver's hand side needs to be replaced, and the outer tie rod on the passenger side. So we'll see if we can repair anything. It looks like we can repair the steering rack. That's good, because that is an expensive part. And while we're here, we might as well repair this random brake caliper and cylinder. Alright, so I'm going to go back over here. And go ahead and put that back in there. Should have a number of spare inner tie rods here, which we do not. 80 should work on pretty much any vehicle repair, so for the sake of time I'm just going to put that in, and we'll go ahead and put in this 87 outer. So I'm pretty certain that's the one it came with. That's a 57. Let me see what the base would be on this vehicle. Base for repairs is 73, so that's not going to work. Which means I'm gonna go to the store and buy more inner tie rods. Fun, fun. You know, it would have been easier if I put that on the list. However, for a second there, I managed to forget about the list. I do that. I'm really good at it. There we go. And there we go. So now, let me check and see if that's marked. Now you can see that's marked off. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove. What am I going to remove? No one knows, not even me. But apparently, subconsciously, I believe I'm going to remove some. I guess I would have to remove the parts in order to repair them. So technically, you know, we are removing. But anyways, we're just going to go ahead and repair the engine faults now, which, like I mentioned before, fixing the suspension clunks and rattles should go along with that. I'm guessing this is probably just something in the back. It usually is. Gonna go ahead and run a diagnostic, see what's wrong with it. Go ahead and fix those. For while I do that, I'm just gonna go ahead and play some music here. Maybe slow down the video. And yeah, please feel watch, enjoy, and I'll be right back with you after we're done here. Alright, so I am just going to go ahead and cut in here just to explain a few things I was doing back here. Initially, you may have saw me running a few diagnostics, just getting an idea of what's going on with the outer portion of the engine block to find out what problems were going on there. And then I went ahead and replaced the ignition coil as well as the ECU, that being the vehicle's hard drive, in order to get the vehicle started. So you may have seen me go ahead and grab the battery, put that back in along with those parts, and you know, I was able to get the vehicle started. So with that, we were able to run the compression test on the engine. And by running the compression test, as you can see here, we did find a few things wrong with the inner portion of the engine, that being the piston rings, well, one of them, and two pistons with concords, which means that I will have to tear apart the entire engine to replace those parts. So I will go ahead and put that music back on and let's get to it. Alright, so as you've seen here, I was able to go ahead and tear apart the engine. I did find those two pistons that kind of went bad on us there. So you could imagine if this really happened in real life, the sound you would have heard when those things were misfiring on a V8 engine running only on 6 cylinders must have been horrendous. Alright, so we did go ahead and get the car lifted up. And we got that oil drained. You may have seen me go ahead and remove the oil filter as well. Whenever I change oil, sometimes I like to go ahead and change out that oil filter along with it, even though that may not be called for within the order request on the repair order. But yeah, so I did go ahead and get that removed. You may have also seen me remove one of the mufflers as well as the rear shock absorber that I believe was causing the rattle in the suspension we were going through earlier. So I did go ahead and remove that and the muffler for the exhaust noise. That should repair some of that. We'll also have to go ahead and replace one of the exhaust manifolds as well in order to get rid of that, because as I'm sure you've seen, that did look really rusted out and was not in the greatest condition when we removed it. So we'll go ahead and do that, but for now, let's see if I have one of the pistons in stock, which I do not. Those cannot be repairable. They're not a repairable part, so we will have to purchase 2 new pistons. They say piston and concord, which technically it is, but we replace them as a whole part in this game, so I've always found that statement to be redundant, at least as far as this mechanical simulator is concerned. But that's my own opinion. You know, opinions may vary. Please comment below if you have a different one. But yeah, so we know we don't have any of those stock, so I'm just going to go ahead and add those here. And I've also went ahead and removed one of the idle rollers, draining the coolant reservoir A prior to removing the water pump pulley, otherwise drains all over the floor. And I looks like I removed another idle roller, both of them being A's as well, because as you may have seen, they were rusted out and in really horrible condition. So we'll go ahead and get those replaced. Looks like I have some of those in stock. I like to keep some parts like that in stock just in case I need to replace them. Probably should have held off on that, given I may need to pull off some of these other parts to replace something else in the future after we replace these pistons. But that's alright. If we need to, we can go ahead and do that. Standing here looking at my whole, what is that, a welder there? I think we might as well get to it. Which I might add is a very cool addition to this most recent rendition of the Car Mechanic Simulator. Back in the 2018 version of it, they did not have that. And therefore you were unable to truly restore a vehicle, as you couldn't repair the frame as well as the mechanical parts. Therefore it wasn't true restore. And frankly, I'm sure I can come up with other reasons why this is also not a true restore. But I digress. Steering 8, that was a part of another rebuild that I'm probably going to end up recording later. We'll go ahead and take that off, get this oil, and manual piston ring. In order to get those piston rings, since these are V8 Hemi pistons, which, you know, makes me feel real good inside, we'll go ahead and get about 20 of those. And whenever you hear V8, you know, it gets you a little excited, but when you add Hemi to V8, it, you know, gets you real excited. Kind of, you know, inspires anger inside of you, like you really want to press that gas pedal and see what happens. you know, after you get up to RPM enough to be able to drop the clutch and hear those wheels getting, you know, after a little bit, probably in second gear, you might smell the smell of burning rubber. You start feeling your adrenaline rise, your heart rate rising. Ah, there's nothing like it. It's the only thing that makes me smile sometimes. And while we're on the topic, it reminds me of a time. First time I brought my first V6. That would have been a Hyundai Tiburon. So long ago. But, yeah, I was attempting to launch it. As I did, because back in the day, as many of you may not be aware, I was really into street racing. So that would have been my second street racing vehicle with a few aftermarket parts, not very many. And yeah, first time launching that thing, it just bounced against the red line on that um, first gear, you know, first gear just bouncing against the red line like it was nothing. I took me a few seconds before I realized what was even happening after, you know, driving a four-cylinder for so long. You could spin the tires before bouncing that red line. It was nothing, but those things are a lot more torque in those. A lot funner. It's not as fast as far as, I wouldn't say off the line it was very fast. Honestly, it was kind of slower than the Neon RT I was previously driving. That was the Dodge version, sporty version of the Neon. But when you got up there, it could hold higher speeds, so that was kind of fun. I don't know what speeds, because I don't think the odometer, no, it did go up that far, but I only got up to 140, if I'm not mistaken, before I backed off because I wasn't on a racetrack. Of course, that was in Mexico. Definitely in Mexico. Anyways, I did go ahead and get that exhaust manifold replaced. Well, not yet, but I did go ahead and add it to the list. I got that other exhaust manifold put on, as well as the two Concords that were giving us problems. So, you did probably notice when I was taking off these valve push rods that about 2 or 3 of those were bad, so we'll go ahead and add that to the list as well. These are very specialized push rods, much like the Nissan 370Z, as well as, I believe it was 360Z was the original one, 330, something like that, I can't recall. But yeah, very specialized, which is rare. Usually V8 engines are all kind of similar in the parts and the, you know, types of parts, but certain engines you'll notice are very specialized parts, which I don't much care for, which is why I don't care for repairing any German vehicles, such as Volvo or BMW. Especially irritating. And we got a 78% right there, so we can go ahead and put that in there. And put this 82. And there you go. Put that baby on there. Looks like we had 2 of those in stock, so that's kind of handy. We did get that oil filter. As I said before, we did have that other 80% one, but since we're changing the oil anyway, it's always a good idea to replace the filter. So, went ahead and did that as well. Now, while we're down here, we might as well see about replacing this middle muffler. Looks like that's at 58. Honestly, I should be able to repair that. won't ever be able to repair any shock absorbers, so we'll have to purchase a new one of those. But let's go ahead and repair. Look at that, we got the fuel rails in there that I took off earlier. Be able to repair. I'll repair this intake manifold. I don't have to purchase a new one, and looks like an engine head. And got a crankshaft bearing. You could repair and keep that for later. Everything else should be good enough for this vehicle repair. And let's go in here. We can get rid of that, get rid of that. Spark plugs, if I'm not mistaken, one of those plugs was bad, so we'll go into electrical and get that replaced. Now push rods, not really certain if, I don't believe I have any of these type of push rods in stock, so I'm just going to purchase all 16 of those. As on any 8-cylinder engine, it would have 8 on each side, making it 16 in full. Got this rear shock. Oh, we'll go ahead and get those installed while we're under the vehicle. Reason I'm keeping you on without the music is, one, since I have so much to replace that is not related to my original statements in regards to the engine repair, and two, if I'm not mistaken, you look at the passenger side tire within there near the inner tie rod, I think there was a part that needed to be replaced, like a wheel hub, but it's not looking like it now. That's probably a good thing. Anyways, let's go ahead and check and see if that resolved the problem with the noise as well as the suspension clunks, which it looks like it did. So we got those two repaired. As you can see, we also have the gearbox control and repair. That's just going to be a clutch release bearing, which we figured out on those diagnostics earlier, which is why it's now popping up there. We got the knocking noise. The rocker arms we will go ahead and replace on the way. Looks like we got a serpentine belt we also got to replace. I'll go ahead and put that star on that. And looks like we had, what, 4, 6 push rods that needed to be replaced. Oh, it's good we got so many. For the next specialized, I did the little quote fingers as I don't have my camera on, but for the next specialized repair, we can go ahead and add those valve push rods in there. Oh, let me see here. Oh, the valve push rods. We'll go ahead and arms. We got the oil cap. That should affect the lower portion of the engine. So we'll go ahead and get everything reinstalled. Oh, I did get that. Oh, so let's go ahead and lower that vehicle. Looking ever so good. And that's where you can see we got that serpentine belt. Did I put that on already? Looks like I did put on that idle roller B. If I even took it off. I did believe I did. I do believe I did. Take that off anyway. You know, these outlines kind of get me all confuzzled as to the part that needs to be replaced, and then when you go to put it back on and you highlight said area, it you know, it's confusing as to if that's the area you'll be putting it back on or not when it's highlighted like that, which probably why I never do it. Serpentine, another specialized car for this specialized engine. So special. Look at how special it is. Middle muffler's good. We ought to replace that. Got the tracks. Push rods. Might as well go over and get a few spark plugs. When I do replace those, though, I do like to go with the aftermarket plugs, as why not? They're so cheap, we might as well. And it adds to the bonus for the repair. While I was in there, did I make sure to forget the belt? I bet I did, because I did not put it on the list. Oh, there we go. Move that, and add that, and I did not. Okay. Whew. Just getting back into it. Well, at this point, it's kind of mundane and boring, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put that music back on for you guys while I go ahead and finish up on the reconstruction of the engine itself. So as you can see, I did go ahead and get that engine rebuilt. While I was at it, I did go ahead and fill the brake fluid as well as the washer fluid within the engine. And as I said before, we did go ahead and replace that exhaust and the rear shock absorber, as we went ahead and showed you as well. Um, so with that said, I mean, while replacing the engine, we did fix the suspension clunks and rattles. Sloppy steering was resolved with those tie rods. And the gearbox issue I did go ahead and repair off camera. That just ended up being the flywheel, as was mentioned earlier, as well as the crankshaft bearing that holds everything on, I believe it was referred to as. But yeah, so with that, we have completed the repairs on this vehicle. And as you can see here, we have the repair fault, the knocking noise, sloppy engine steering, fixed suspension clunks and rattles, loud exhaust, and general gearbox control and repair. Got a tax bonus of 13,128, job bonus of 2,389, and a total payout of 20,210 credits. So we'll go ahead and click finish. Looks like we're missing some spark plugs there. So let's go ahead and get those replaced. We got all 4 of them on this side, it looks like. Must be missing some on this side. There we go. So we got those planes. And we're also missing an idle roller. Wonderful. You could tell it's my first time back in quite some time. Go ahead and put that on there. And we got the alternator. Let me see. Another idle roller. Now let's see if it allows us to finish it. We are missing oil from the vehicle. I was pretty certain I filled that already. May have missed that. There we go. Try one more time. And that will complete this video. I do appreciate those of you who viewed the video all the way through for watching it. And feel free to like and subscribe. And I do appreciate any commentation. Thank you for watching.